For consistent gains over time, your workouts need to be designed such that they literally force your muscles to grow every single session. Today we're going to cover the 5 ways to do just that. Increasing the amount of weight lifted is a method that most people rely on. To apply it, it's quite straightforward. Let's say you can currently bench press 100 pounds for 8 reps. Next week, you might try to increase the load and do 110 pounds for 8 reps, which would create a new stimulus for your muscles to have to adapt to and grow from. Now, if you're a beginner, then this method of progressive overload will be your bread and butter to help you make gains quickly. You'll likely be able to add 5 to 10 pounds to the bar every single week, especially on your main lifts like the bench press, the squat, and the deadlift. To break through this, we have to get more creative with how we continue challenging our muscles. This is where our next point comes in handy. When applied properly, adding more reps is another great way to force your muscles to grow. The way this works can be illustrated with a very simple math equation. If I can bench press 100 pounds for 10 reps one week, I can multiply those numbers together and calculate that I've lifted 1,000 pounds total across that set. If next week I go to the gym and lift that same weight but for 11 reps, I will have lifted 1,100 pounds across that same set. This means that by just adding 1 rep to my set, I've technically lifted 100 pounds more than last week, which, just like adding more weight does, would create a new stimulus for your muscles to grow. But how high in reps can you go while using the same weight? Well, based on a 2017 meta-analysis, as long as you're continuing to push hard, you can keep the same weight and increase all the way up to 30 reps and still get the same growth compared to adding more weight. What happens when you get stuck, unable to add more weight or do more reps? Well, here's where another often overlooked form of progression can come into play. The next method has to do with how many sets you perform. Let's say you're trying to build up your biceps. Adding sets can be as simple as going from 3 sets of 12 one week to 4 sets of 12 the next week. Using the simple math equation we used earlier, if we were curling 40 pounds in each hand, then each of our biceps would be lifting 480 pounds more volume in the second week by just adding that 1 set. It's a really simple way to add a massive amount of training volume to your program, and it's something we use in our more advanced Built with Science programs to help bring up lagging muscle groups. However, when using this method, you need to use it sparingly. Based on the literature, we know doing at least 10 sets per muscle group per week nearly doubles the amount of gains that you would get compared to doing just 5 sets per muscle group per week. But there comes a point of diminishing returns when you get into the 20 to 30 set zone. So a good rule of thumb is to increase volume no more than 10 to 20% per week.